is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Friday, 24th November 2023. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is News to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. A police officer has been directed by the High Court to pay $130,000 to compensate a man from Maracas, St. Joseph. Reports into the incident said the beating took place while the man was arguing with his mother at their property in 2020. The officer was off duty at the time and was part of a group who went to the property that belonged to Anton Licorice, his sister, and their parents to continue a lime they'd been to earlier that day. The beating took place as Licorice was arguing with his mother, who refused to allow the partygoers to continue liming at her residence. Justice Frank C. Prasad ordered PC Siobhan Rami to make the payment yesterday at the conclusion of a two-day trial. Licorice brought the claim against Rami, as well as the Office of the Attorney General, as he sought compensation for assault and battery. Licorice claimed the state was liable for Rami's action, as he identified himself as a police officer before the attack. Justice C. Prasad, however, disagreed with the contention and instead found that Rami was acting on a frolic of his own as he was off duty. Taxpayers not to bear the financial responsibility for the errant and unjustified actions of a police officer. Chief Secretary Fadi Augustin says his administration is taking legal action to get some $166.4 million, which the government owes the THA in approved parliamentary allocations over the past few years. The THA is pursuing legal action to ensure government gives the Assembly its annual budget allocation commensurate with its development agenda. Madam Presiding Officer Abby Taylor, notwithstanding the public utterances from the Minister of Finance, Colin Imber, and his Tobagonian colleagues in the Parliament, the calculations reveal that the THA is owed a total of $166.4 million in approved parliamentary allocation that has not been transferred to the THA, Augustin said yesterday, Thursday. He was moving a motion in the Assembly to reprioritize the THA's 2023-2024 budget allocation. Exactly 1 year ago, November 4th, 2022, at a plenary setting, Augustine accused central government of not dispersing the THA's full fiscal allocation from the budget in the past 5 years. On that occasion, he claimed the THA had consistently received shortfalls, which amounted to $138,925,658. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Kelvin Morris, during his contribution to the proceedings, said the present executive must be able to find a way to properly use the resources available to it financially and otherwise to ensure that people of Tobago benefit. Mr. Morris said now is the time, not the time for blaming or complaining about funding received from central government. Morris, however, said using the funding at its disposal in an efficient manner must be at the forefront and a priority. From infrastructure for discipline, government is seeking to make it compulsory for indisciplined students who are suspended from government or government-assisted schools to be enrolled at the Military-Led Academy Training Program, MILAT. MILAT is a social intervention program specifically designed to help at-risk young men ages 16 to 20 transform their lives and achieve academic and other successes. Last year, 3 students were suspended. This year, 10 pupils so far have been suspended. The Ministries of Social Development and National Security are also involved in the process in terms of counseling and other forms of support to assist the students to lead productive lives. The Chief Justice, Ivo Archie, tells the country's newest attorneys to carry out their duties in a responsible, humble, and diligent professional way. Archie said the duties should not be bombarded by ego or desire to win a matter no matter what. The CJ made the comments while speaking at the call to the bar ceremony on Thursday, which took place in the Hall of Justice in Port of Spain. Chief Justice Archie said the profession should be practiced with giving good counsel. In news of the region, Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith points to sending soldiers to help quell the humanitarian and political unrest in Haiti would not affect Jamaica's security operations, especially if the interventions continues into next year. She was responding to concerns about security interventions and how they would impact the local government election due next February. The minister said efforts to continue coordinated security missions to Haiti. This includes timing of the mission. And finally, international news, a 5-year-old girl and a woman in her 30s have been seriously injured and 3 other people hurt in a knife attack in Dublin's city centre. Another girl, 6, and a 5-year-old boy were also stabbed outside the children's school at Parnell Square East. There were also violent scenes near the attack where it took place after crowds of protesters gathered in the area. Police said the man in his 40s is a person of interest. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here at News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Legislation sets the tone for how we treat each other as a society. It provides those boundaries and the expectations, and it also upholds the rights of all of the citizens.
Legislation is important for everyone in society as it sets rules and regulations that create an organized, safe and fair environment in which everyone is equal.
They form the opinion that because you have a disability, that you are somehow unintelligent, stupid, ridiculously asinine, you name it. So legislation is quite important, and I hope that legislation is soon coming so that people with disabilities can be who they are. People first. Disability.
After the hour of 6 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. It is the 24th day of November. 31 days to Christmas. A month from now, it would be Christmas Eve. Think about that. All right. Full casting this morning. You just heard from Paul Richards. Yep, he's all tied up. We have Wendell Stephen. We got Richard Raghuparising. We got Ruben in the mix. So good morning to you. My name is Steve Cotton. Let's get straight into the traffic. Nothing out in the Southland. I got one accident to tell you about. It is by Orange Grove Lights. It's a minor accident. Hopefully that should be cleared up in a short. But you got some traffic from Trinidad City towards UE, and then from the interchange towards El Scoron. Pretty much clear getting into Port of Spain just by the market. You'll get some traffic. Building up in the west, like Maraval, Onamoka. And that's about it. Pretty much. Let's get into our W's now. Let's see what our weather is going to be like for today. Boy, it is a warm one already. It's 27 degrees at Piarco International Airport, 26 in Crown Point in Tobago. And the Met Office is saying today, fair conditions will be interrupted by partly cloudy intervals with a few showers. There's a low 30% chance of the isolated heavy shower and or thunderstorm favoring Trinidad. All right. Maximum forecast temperature for both islands will be 32. Let's see who sent us hellos this morning. Let's see. Good morning to Oliver Man Warren, Trinity in Boston. Good morning to you. Today is leftover day for you guys. DJ Ray out in Tampa, Rena Boodoo Jennings, Carol Joseph, Wayne B out in Covent, Georgia. Anthony Tinto out in Ontario, Canada. Boyley Bidesi, good morning to you. Carol Guevara, TGIF, that's what it is. Ms. Maloney Dudu, good morning. CJ out in New York, good morning. Maria Celia, good morning to you. And just checking some temps where you guys are. Let's see. Toronto, you're sitting at -1. I'm just saying, ouch. -1. Miami, you're at 22. Orlando, 14. New York, you're at 6. Atlanta, you're at 6 as well. London, 8. Tampa, 14. Washington, D.C., you're at 4. All right. Let's say good morning. Going out to Paul Richards. Good morning to you, my friend.
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, my friend.
Long day ahead.
Yeah, you do. What do you got planned?
Well,
What do you got
for the
planned?
weekend. The house
Say
on the
again.
hill sits today.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
The house on the hill sits today this morning.
The house on
The
the
house
hill.
on the hill. Woo! That flew really sending you back 7 years, boy. Let me tell you.
No, you would know, but a lot of people won't know what you're talking about, you know.
Yes, Steve. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Hey, Randall.
It's my hair, boy.
Morning, sir.
Morning. How are you
Where
all?
you in, sir?
Morning, Paul. Morning,
Like you sleep out?
Trinidad and Tobago. Yes?
You sleep out? You in Central?
No, actually, this could be considered central, though. But I'm about to embark on one of those types of weekends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how you look Londonish, so it too
Nah,
bright to be Trinidad.
I am in Trinidad.
And that kind of sun in the background? No.
It just is glass. It's glass actually behind it.
Oh, I see the double palm sign now. All right, you're in Trinidad. All right. I see the double palm sign
You know,
behind you.
as you say that, right? There's a double palm obliquely opposite the entrance to where I live, right? On Tampuna Road. And the other day I pass and I see windows open, like somebody when they're like either the air condition breakdown or they find it was too cold.
If it
So
was too
one of
cold,
the places
missing
we were,
something.
huh?
If it was too cold, they're missing something.
I just laugh. Yes, that's the double palm where they say people could go and pick starch mangoes from the window. Because the neighbor next door, a huge starch mango tree that hangs across by the double palm place.
And I wonder why they choose opposite your house to choose put a double palm.
They choose opposite my house. Eh?
They did the market research.
It's actually right. It used to be a hardware, and I think it used to be army hardware.
It's still a hardware.
But you know, strange. I think army, the owner of army hardware, is actually the person who owns the double palms.
Double palm is a franchise.
That's what I heard. Well, I don't know if it's a franchise, but I think it's the same
Remember,
hardware owner.
we spoke to the guy. We spoke to the owner. He does own a hardware. He's out in Shogunas area. Remember they had a home invasion?
Yeah, it's army. It is army hardware.
Oh.
Yeah, it is army hardware. You know,
Yes, usually lumber associated with double palm, so I see the connection.
Plenty pipe all up in everybody constituency. You remember that?
6:14. How are you, sir? I see Steve still coughing up a storm.
This cough,
Sorry?
is horrible. The cough just does not want to leave.
Steve, you need
sweat.
Yeah, that is because I as I say, I have a friend also too who has it and it's not going. It doesn't seem to be going.
No,
and
it just does not. When you think you're recuperating, it
Mhm.
gets you back. It comes back at you.
Yeah.
What today's what, Friday, Wednesday night, I had fever. I was like, where did this come from?
Mhm.
This is the Steve who told us in the office the day before yesterday. This is the end it going now.
Well, I thought it was going, and then I get fever. Go
As
figure.
per wrong Steve in the office, like if he's a vector, yes.
I tell you, the fastest way to get rid of Paul, it faster than Richard going to a bar that have free Heineken. Get the food.
Mhm. Anyway, do I have any birthday greetings? Let me check. I'm
Yeah,
trying
but
to remember.
You need to sweat, Steve. You need to go and take a walk. I keep telling you that.
Yeah, but it also has you feeling very weak.
It will increase your lung movement, your lung capacity, and you will exhale a lot of the residential viruses. It's important to do that.
And there are so many fruits available to people now. The orange is not as sweet as they should be, but there are Portugals. They have all manner of fruit now, you know. Just
will help.
bulk up on fruit, man.
Well, I've been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But
puncheon. Somebody say puncheon.
Puncheon, lime, and honey. Yeah.
But I drank puncheon many, many years ago, and I never drank puncheon again. Drink puncheon again. Never.
I
You feel it,
just
you feel it doing so. You know exactly where your esophageal tract is. You know you feel when it reaches your stomach and when it settles. I don't know how people drink that every day. That's madness.
I've never had punching.
I
Just
had
the,
it once.
just the way
Once.
I see people react to that and the way that smells, I've never had it.
Somebody
Never
gave me,
tried.
they said it was a good cure for the cold, and they gave me a cap full of punching, and I will never drink that again.
A
And
cup
that
full of
people get up in
punching
the
for the
morning and go
cold.
by the bath, I'm wait for that. That is madness. That is start playing and thing, playing this fly punching.
I can't even begin to imagine how punching could work for the cold. I can't even begin to imagine
No.
how an
And
alcoholic beverage, because alcohol dehydrates you, okay? And that strength of alcohol would probably dehydrate you even more or quicker. How would that help the cold?
You know, I have a friend of mine that does not drink alcohol. He's not a drinker, but yet every afternoon he takes a shot of puncheon.
And he's not a drinker?
He hasn't gotten a cold in 7 years.
Hold on, wait. He's not a drinker, but every afternoon he's taking a drink of puncheon?
Yeah, so all he does is take a shot of puncheon in the afternoon, and that's it.
Well, he's addicted to puncheon.
He's a drinker.
He's addicted to puncheon.
He might be addicted to punching, but he's a drinker. You can't say that. He may taking a shot every afternoon. You're drinking.
Yeah,
That's an addiction.
Like if we go out to Lime, he will drink soft drink, coconut water, LLB, but that's it.
But and he's drinking a shot of puncheon every day. He's addicted to puncheon. It's like smoking a joint every day.
No, he says he's it keeps the flu away. He is a doctor, by the way.
No.
Okay.
Just remind me not to
just remind me to go and see him in the morning, not in the afternoon. Eh?
Yeah. After you take your shot.
It's after dinner. After dinner, he has that.
After you take your shot. Okay. Good for him. So, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It's Friday morning. A police officer has been directed by Justice Frank C. Prasad to pay $130,000 after he beat a man as part of a line because the man was arguing with his mother. And the person who was beaten brought the case against the police officer who was off duty at the time, and the officer, the Attorney General, Justice C. Prasad, whom I agree with in this instance, says, you know what, if you paying it, taxpayers not paying it. Because he was in a frolic on your own, and you went off duty and beat the man. And I do know that beating is part of the law. So
where did that happen?
This happened, is it 2020? 2020 in Maracas, St. Joseph. And Justice C. Prasad said
carnival party thing.
They didn't say what time of the year it was.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It was a lime in the house. It didn't have to be carnival. And Justice C. Prasad said taxpayers ought not to bear the financial responsibility for errant and unjustified actions of a police officer. I agree with that. Someone will be on their own stripping this, and then the state is set up pay.
Right. So this was a private civil action.
No, but it can't be a civil action if you include the Attorney General's office. But yeah, it's a civil action because it's not criminal. Yeah, it is. Yeah, civil action. So, yeah, good for you. Go and pay the money since you want to beat people. And I think the Ministry of Education finally listening to us.
What they did?
Said that steps are being taken to ensure that students who are expelled from schools face a mandatory amount of time in the MyLab program.
In MyLab, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Which we've been calling for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish the way till they expel them. Sometimes if they're given too much trouble, for them, that program is one of the best programs in this country.
Yeah.
For young people who may have no history.
That could probably be the basis of the poll today. You know, do you agree with the Ministry of Education making MyLab mandatory for students who've been expelled? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think that's a good move. And as I said just now, I think they shouldn't even wait for them to be expelled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Once
when
they're
you're
given,
given
once they're
trouble,
showing,
and you
once
don't
they're
want to
given
listen,
trouble.
and you're reaching the point where all else has failed, including
Mm-hmm.
parental intervention, because sometimes the home environment is the, if not most of the time, the home environment is the issue. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the girl the other day pick up the phone and calling the mother and cussing.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Comfortable, which means she accustomed. And I know of hundreds of young people who went through that minor program who may have started a little rocky, who ended up like the young man who was killed week before, Olton Jones. You understand? Olton Jones, who said he was going down the wrong road and Milat saved and put him on the right path.
Yeah.
And unfortunately was killed outside some shop in Dabadi or Aruka or somewhere there, sadly.
Yeah. As you're talking about that, I know that we try to avoid as far as possible talking about the killings that happening, but one of the most I should say, well, all of them disturbing, but there was a very disturbing image of that shooting by the car wash in St. Augustine. I don't know if you all saw it, the video.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I didn't send it. I sent it. I think I sent it in the Power Breakfast group. Paul, I didn't send it to you.
Yeah.
No,
I got it a couple of times, so I
Yes,
saw
yes.
it.
Yeah. Send it over to Paul. It was, I mean, how do you explain these things? A young man standing up in the road on his phone, walking about, seemingly not concerned about anything or anyone. And clearly, maybe can't be somebody who was under threat because he was there broad daylight. And a guy walked up to him and just shot him in his head and
Wow.
walked away.
Calm.
Calm.
Just on the
And
tape.
all that captured on CCTV.
Jesus.
As calm as could be.
I don't know. But that is just
You
so
know,
stupid.
and people are saying, well, they don't know him to be involved in anything. So it's almost like if, and we spoke about this before, that people just jealous people or have some
And
beef
then look at your
with people for some
employee.
kind of thing.
Look at your
Huh?
employee. They don't have to be involved in anything. It could be mistaken identity, wrong place, wrong time, wrong association. They don't have to be involved in anything sometimes. Such a sad state of affairs. And it seems that everybody has a gun. Josie Richardson is asking if my LAT, L-A-T,
Yeah, my lad.
could be taken to school. No, it's a boot camp situation, so they actually have to. And he woke up calm. Oh gosh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's so
But that's only for men, right? For young boys. It's not for ladies.
no, they have girls too now.
Oh, they have
Yeah.
a girl.
They're
Yeah,
taking
girls
young
and
women now.
boys.
They're taking girls too now. Yeah.
Right, okay.
It started off as for young boys 16 to 20, but now they've extended it to even before 16 if the child is really truant. And it's been extended to including girls now who are giving trouble. But Josie, it can be taken into schools because it's a boot camp situation where they wake them up at 4 in the morning, they have exercise and they have schoolwork, then they have chores, and it's very, very rigid, very military-like, but it is extremely effective. They give them moral training, they
They're
give them
situated.
counseling
And they're situated.
in Komoto.
Right.
My understanding from that program when it started in somewhere in the early 2000 period, is that a lot of the young people ended up liking it so much that they ended up in the services, in the army and so
When
on.
you finish, if you want, you have a fast track into the army or
Yes.
sometimes police service.
Yes.
Because you would have already done a lot of the initial courses and been vetted and seen. And it's run by ex or retired military people too, so they have experience. I interviewed a few of them many years ago, and it is such an excellent program. I cannot speak well enough of that program. There's one called My Path and one called My Lat.
And My Lat, yes. Yes.
It's one of the best programs invented in this country. My understanding has now been moved from the Ministry of National Security to the Ministry of Youth, and But I'll see no more.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Why are they moving that out of national security?
You're asking me.
That was a Martin Joseph Patrick Bannon initiative.
Very successful program.
It's at Mausika, Paul, not Kumutu.
Okay, Mouse.
Lower Mausika.
I went into the area that's south of the highway. That's so.
Yeah. Mausika
Yeah.
South.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
And
you see a lot of the young people waiting for transportation by the PBR there and Mausika Road.
It
See
is
them?
extremely effective. And I agree with the Ministry of Education's move that you don't just leave these young people when they're expelled to fend for themselves. You have to have some intervention. It's another life wasted because they will generally continue down the same road, and that's not what you want.
Yeah.
But like if you don't do something, the state has said, well, okay, you're given trouble, that is your business, which is not the way to be.
Right. For the folks sending me messages, just let them know, just informing them I'm using my phone to do the program this morning. So I'm seeing your message, indication of your message, but I can't read it, unfortunately.
I have to leave in about 3 minutes.
Or you have to leave too. Because I have to I don't leave it.
Right, indicate
that's No, there's I'm attending a birthday lime this weekend. It's actually 8 of us.
Double Palm hosts birthday limes too. Okay.
Yes, Double Palm hosts birthday lime. It's eight of us. 3 of them already at the destination.
Is that Paris?
4 of them already at the destination, and four leaving today.
Are they staying at your house to walk across?
If what?
You can just walk across.
Park and walk across.
You can walk across, you know.
No, but my understanding is that those double palms you could drive in and your car. Nobody can see your car.
You could just walk from by you and then go back and lime after by you.
Yeah, well, somebody might sit there.
And after your scheduled time, you just go back home. You're easy.
But they have a timing.
But I understand it's by the hour or by the session. My understanding is that I've been told. I've never been to a double palm, sir.
Yeah, all right. We'll go with that.
But I need to leave, but Steve has disappeared. I don't want to leave you on your own, so.
Yeah, but you can't leave me alone. I wouldn't know what to say. I don't even have a newspaper or anything. So, and as I say, I'm in a position.
Give me 5 minutes.
You'll have a wonderful day.
Dealing with something in boom.
Bye.
Bye.
No, Steve, bye.
What did he say?
He's dealing with something in boom. I don't know what that has to do with me. I told them I have to leave.
How you dress up so again this hour in the morning?
I have things to do, people to meet. I have to go and mediate the crime talks.
You have to go on what, sorry?
Mediate the crime talks that will never take place.
Oh God, they really made a fuss. They really made a fuss out of that crime talks thing.
Yes, they did. I think all sides are to blame. I'm sorry. You all have a wonderful day. Be safe.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
Yeah, that crime talks, that dead in the water. That is dead in the water. And it's sad because the population, that's the first thing that they're concerned about, their security. And the thing that at the top level, educated people, seasoned politicians, does not see that as a priority for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. What will come out of it, I don't know. But let's get the ball rolling.
Well, I'm sorry, I have to put the blame squarely on the shoulders of the opposition. Because you raised the issue. The opposition raised the issue of meeting with the government on crime, to have crime talks, okay? The Prime Minister agreed, wrote a letter of invitation, right? The opposition accepted. Then the Prime Minister named his team and the things that they would like discuss, and that was the end of that. The first thing the opposition do was indicate to the Prime Minister that they're going to include Gary Griffith in the talks. You're asking for confrontation. You know the relationship. You've been hearing it, you've been seeing it playing out. Why would you even propose that be part of your conditions? You ended
So
it before it even started.
in other words, one person is the problem.
I never said that.
Well,
I never said that.
let me tell you what I think about that. As the head of the Security Council, it is your duty to secure the citizens. You send a letter, the opposition is saying, well, we want Gary there. You have a problem with Gary. You don't want Gary there. Be the bigger person and say, okay, this is very serious for the 1.4 average citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And nag them to have these talks. It is crucial.
I'm not agreeing.
Just saying,
I'm not
because
agreeing.
While they're doing that, more people are dying. More people are getting robbed. A young lady the other night sitting in a car in Woodbrook. A fella come up with a gun, take a phone, take a car, picks up another guy up the road holding a bag of whatever, and it's gone.
I'm not totally in agreement with the style of the Prime Minister concerning this either, you know. But I'm just saying, the minute you start off by saying this is the same Gary Griffith the opposition never supported. So when you put him in the mix there, what you asking? What you really signaling? You understand? You didn't support him, right? But then all of a sudden now, because you know the contentious relationship between himself and the Prime Minister, you propose him as your point man. Come on, you're just being up. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe that. Richard, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys, and happy Friday to all, everybody listening. Before we continue, I just have a couple of birthdays to get out of the way.
You do?
Yes, I have to say happy birthday to Lisa Bean. Lisa, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Fantastic day today. Yeah, and then I also want to say happy birthday to a cousin of mine, Ina, also known as Daughter from San Rafael. She celebrates her 75th birthday today. And I want to
right
say
around your age.
Happy birthday, Daughter. So happy birthday, Daughter. I know you're
She's still known as Daughter at 75?
Yeah.
Is she still known as Daughter at age 75?
Probably still her a name she had since she was a child.
Everybody has have a home name of sorts. So, Daughter, happy birthday. As I said, I know you all are meeting up in Castro's later. So I am going to pass through to wish you personally a happy birthday.
You didn't even need to say that. We already knew.
So just want to get those birthdays out of the way.
All right. Let's say good morning going out to a few people on let me just roll up here. I have a few people. Oh boy, I didn't realize there was so much. Holy cow. Okay, we did Maria. Dennis Prasad, Ewart, Rajpal, Mo Games, Josie Richardson, Arno, Mrs. R is locked on, Yolanda Cordner is locked on, Ambrose Blah, Rena Budu Jennings, Carol Mitchell, Cheryl Seeley, Frank Edwards, and he's saying happy birthday to his sister Mona Edwards out in Santa Rosa Arimas. Happy birthday to you, Mona. All right, and on WhatsApp at 318-1021, we've got Oliver, we've got Michael out in London. Good morning to you. We have got Sergio. Good morning, my friend. Sankofa, good morning, and GNC Auto Security, good morning to you as well. Right. And Lincoln Francis just popped in. I guess you wanted to say hi. So, hi, Lincoln. Morning. Right. Yeah, but we are talking about the crime talks there, Rich, as you were just about to come in.
Yeah.
You know, and we
No,
were saying,
well, I heard the and well, at least the ending part of it with regard to Gary Griffith and
yeah,
the prime minister and all of that simidimi. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, we always know politics comes into it. Unfortunately, in a Trinidad and Tobago context, it always comes into it. But I think the population was just hoping that okay, because the crime situation is so serious and it's the number one issue in the country, that all of the politics can be left at the door and people could just unite.
pretty better than the citizens. Exactly.
Well, I think a united front without any of the politics from either side would have been the preferred choice of the average citizen. The average citizen just wants to see the 41 members of parliament or politicians generally deal with the crime situation in a united way. Because guess what? The criminals or the criminal element is also part of that population.
Yeah.
And they're also watching on.
Yeah, and they don't care. They don't care who the victims are. They don't care whether the victim is PNM people or UNC people. They're not concerned about that.
They don't.
No, they don't.
And so politicians not being able to unite to deal with the issue plays into their playbook. So they will just be receiving the message of disunity, disorganization in terms of the political elite, in terms of dealing with the issue, and they move on.
And let's face it, the possibility of a change in government can only come about because of the crime situation in this country, which is why it's in the government's interest to get it fixed, and it's in the opposition interest that it not be fixed if they want to get in the government. That is my opinion.
Yeah, but that's the politics that you want left at the door.
Yeah.
That's the actual politics you want left at the door. That is.
Yeah.
Forget about the tool of it being an election issue, because it has now surpassed that for the average citizen. Because as you just said, criminals don't care which party you belong to.
No, they don't.
But they like
you go
us,
and you
seeing the disunity, and it plays to their advantage.
Yeah.
You go to a bar, you go to where people gather. It's both people that support both parties, but they all liming and hugging up and
that is always been Trinidad.
That is Trinidad.
That is always been Trinidad and Tobago.
You go to the Red House, and outside the Red House, and those that are in the Red House, there's a big wall, and they can't get along, and they don't want to join forces to help this country. So Wendell, you're right. You know, that is why, and while all this immature behavior is going on, by Monday, more people will die.
Sadly.
Well, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Sadly.
In reality,
when you watch the shooting at that stuff, when you watch the shooting at that guy by the car wash in St. Augustine, you wonder what could possibly have been the reason why a guy on a phone outside talking uncaring about what's happening around him or whatever.
And we have all done that.
Complete stranger walk up to him and shot him in his head.
We have all done that. You carry your car to wash Wendell. I call you
to that. But what gets me, Wendell, is that people watching that video who know that shooter will know who it is.
Yeah, I mean,
they will know from his walk.
Hey, that look like Richie.
You always know from people's gait who they are, you know.
Yeah.
And so people who know that shooter and know him well will know that it's his walk and will know that it's him.
Yeah.
And in not assisting the police, you contribute to the problem.
Yeah. And somebody somewhere will also know the real reason why he was shot to her. Where there's an argument over some job, where there's an argument over some woman or man, where there's an argument over some property, somebody will know, you know.
But the
Because
total
people,
blatant,
getting killed for all them things now. It had nothing to do with being in a gang or nothing. So again, in a lot of instances,
the total blatant lack of respect for life is unbelievable.
yeah,
Anyway.
it's frightening.
And you see part of the problem that, and I mean, this is an age-old thing we're discussing, unfortunately, is that until you start capturing and holding these people quickly, that people know they will be caught, that is the biggest disincentive.
Yeah.
That you know you will be caught. Because if you're in St. Augustine, wherever you're going, you should be bound. You should be meeting cameras shortly.
Yeah, so I think like that, Richard. So they know the camera is not working.
Well, I don't even know that the camera is not working. I always assume cameras are working.
I would
that they are. Yes.
I have to assume that they are.
Yes.
We got footage from somebody's camera. So the other cameras, and there has to be a way in a small country of 1.4 million with only so many roads to get feeds into some national center that people said shooting just occurred, start tracking. This is the car, bam, 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 bam. And until you start capturing people every single time, you're spinning top in mud, because that's what's going to stop it. But people know I am not going to get away. However you do that, whatever you do. I mean, we talk here, and of course, we are not in the national security services. So we're speaking from a layman's perspective. When we talk, well, you know me, I always talking about air support.
Yeah.
And how quickly you get things in the air, because it's about catching people soon after. Nothing irritates me more, Wendell and Steve and listeners, than when I read an article about a robbery or a murder or anything that police are continuing investigations is the sentence at the end of the article. That irritates the hell out of me. Because I don't want that sentence.
Yeah.
I want the sentence be, and within the following 60 minutes, the police were able to do X, Y, Z, and they have arrested X. The time you put the sentence, they are continuing as the investigations. Basically, I mentally throw my hands up in the air.
Cold case.
Yeah. That's what I do. I mentally throw my hands up in the air. Like, I don't know if it's only me, but that's how I read it.
No, cold case. It goes into that file. The never-ending file where no updates are given as to what is happening with some of those matters.
Nope. And we all have examples of that. And that's what is so frustrating. To this day, they have arrested no one for Raymond Chukong's murder.
Yeah.
To this day, as far as I'm aware, they have arrested no one for Gladiator's murder.
Correct.
Nice people we know. And these are not people who weren't prominent on some level in the society.
Well, I lost a worker the other day too. To this day, we have heard nothing about it.
Right. I remember when you spoke about it.
Yeah.
And you think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He was home.
Yeah.
Somebody came. They came for the guy who was in the area. A guy who doesn't live in the area. He was at his home and got shot because they just come out and started spray bullets and people ran. It's 4 of them got shot. He got 1 bullet to his head and died. He had nothing to do with whatever was going on between.
It is not normal. You know, we go through every day reading these articles and becoming, I don't know, even more and more. I don't want to say we desensitized anymore, you know. But it is not normal to know people who are murdered.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Nope.
And most, I want to say, most Trinidadians, I think, know somebody who's been murdered.
Yeah.
How is that possible in our society? Come
Mm-hmm.
on.
And if we go down the road of domestic violence, I remember as a child growing up, my aunt was murdered in the streets of St. James by a man she was seeing, and she was right there on Banker Street in St. James. You understand? Was murdered. My father's sister. So it is nothing that is when we speak from a point of view of experience.
Yeah.
You understand? There's some families who've never had those experiences. You know, that was the extreme end of domestic violence way back in the day. And it was a stabbing. It was guns. Nobody didn't know anything about guns back then. Guns was in the hands of the police. Guns was in the hands of citizens. You know, crazy. And it's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
It certainly has.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly has. And we have to solve it, which we keep saying, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to.
We have to take harsh decisions, hard decisions. And if the TTPS can't fix the TTPS, they can't fix anybody else.
Yeah, which
Exactly.
I suppose in a way, of course, in a way, it connects to our guest that we have in the next hour, which is David West, and the appearance of the PCA before the Public Accounts Committee, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
And what resources they need, which he has indicated on this show before.
Many times. We've interviewed David many times before.
Yeah.
And they've always had a resource problem.
Yeah, resources. So.
Yeah. Rich, you have papers by chance?
No, I don't this morning, unfortunately, so we can try and do it online.
All right, let's try and do it and come up with our morning poll. I don't have the result from yesterday. All right, while you put it up online. What time is your flight, Wendell?
In less than an hour.
Ah, okay.
I may miss part of the second part of the hour of the show.
Yeah. Have a good trip.
The Trinidad News Day for today.
Yeah.
Chief Secretary of the THA to take legal action on $166 million owed by government. So I think he says he's going to take legal action against the Minister of Finance. So that's one of the headlines. Gatsby Dolly teachers back pay by year end. Jury expected to deliberate on verdict in Cops murder trial today. Well, on Friday, which is today. Coover man and son on gun-related charges denied bail. Extra Foods opened 6th branch.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
In
believe
Aranguez yesterday. Yeah.
Aranguez, yeah, I saw that there. Barack poor mother helped find a man who left my son in a coma. And Minister of Education expelled students not cast aside. Apparently, they go into Milat. That's where they want them to go to. And in sports, St. Anthony's College Tigers lift North Zone Intercall title. And that's basically it. Oh, one part of the news. Soldier in Mayaro robbery, still in custody without charge because a soldier was detained. So that's for the...
You know what somebody mentioned to me yesterday? Is it that while he was on duty, he went to rob these people and then came back to duty?
I have no clue.
You know?
Clearly, how the story was. That he left his post at the station went and put on a robbery and then went back in the station and wait for the man to come and make the report.
Yeah.
The Trinidad and
That's the
Tobago,
line?
well, the Daily Express, the Trinidad and Tobago, compulsory military school if expelled. And apparently 10 pupils have been expelled from schools across the country this year. And so they're going to go, once you're under the age of 16, I think, is it 16?
Yes.
They can mandate that you go to the military school.
Yeah. Over 16, they're on their own. They can do what they want.
Yeah. And apparently they're getting full support from tutor. Energy Chamber unveils 6-point local content development plan. Gary Griffith says Rowley's days are numbered. Cop must personally pay $130,000 for beating man. Well, personally pay is new. Put public safety first. And so the headline is actually go to military school, which connects the story that I just mentioned. And of course, the main sports story is that of St. Anthony's College coach Ronald Daniel made a goalkeeper switch at the end of regulation that propelled the Tigers to the title in the Intercol North title competition. That's it for the Express. I just have to do the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian.
Clean.
And the main headline in the Guardian: Education Minister acts of bad behavior, mandatory MILAT for expelled students. So that's the number one story apparently that most people might put as their headline. The acts on bad behavior. So mandatory MILAT for expelled students. Full proclamation of data protection law coming in 2024. So says the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Digital Transformation, Corey Belfon. You have opinion stories, columnist stories. Will Venezuela go to war over Essequibo? That's one by Anthony Wilson. Good morning, Anthony. NCBFG's profit dropped by 56%. Lenders are seeing a Merry Christmas. Dad weeps for son killed in Sando murder, suicide. Third child lost to violence. And in sports, Shanda Paul and Hodge push Windies 8 to a narrow lead. St. Benedict's and Fatima move to under 16 Trinidad final. That's it for our 3 dailies.
All right. Let me give you the results of our poll from yesterday. I got it. Thank you, Ruben. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? That was our poll yesterday. I'll give you the results right after this.
Persons with disabilities should have the same rights and access to services and opportunities as every other citizen in Trinidad and Tobago. But they do not, and it's time for change.
The Law Association of Trinidad Tobago's Subcommittee on Human Rights Working Group on Disability Rights is hosting a series of consultations titled Law and Disability Rights.
Saturday, 25th November, Naparima Girls Auditorium, San Fernando.
And Saturday, 2nd December, Hillview College Auditorium, El Dorado Road, Tunapuna, 2 to 5 p.m.
Come share your important views on what you think laws that protect the rights of persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago should look like, and what must be included in that law to protect your rights.
The Law and Disability Rights Public Consultations, Saturday, 25th November, Naparima Girls Auditorium, San Fernando, and Saturday, 2nd December, Hillview College Auditorium, El Dorado Road, Tunapuna, 2 to 5 p.m.
Come share your perspective and contribute to crafting comprehensive laws to protect the rights of persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago.
This is the season of giving, and you can give the holiday happiness to your loved ones. Send and receive more with the MoneyGram. Share the joy with your loved ones and make Christmas extra special this year. With every MoneyGram transfer, this Christmas you have the chance to win a cash voucher. Share the joy of the season with your loved ones. Visit any MoneyGram agent location or Massey stores nationwide for details. And check our Facebook and Instagram page. This promotion has been approved by the NLCB.
All right. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? That's our poll yesterday. Final results, 100% said yes. All right. Let's get this morning's poll up and rolling. We have 5 minutes.
Well, that's encouraging for David West to hear next hour. All right. So our poll this morning is: do you support the view by the ministry? Do you support the position of the Ministry of Education to make MyLAT mandatory for expelled students? Yes or no?
All right. 222-8255.
Richard, you'll have to write, okay?
Toll free North Americans, 866-525-1099. On WhatsApp at 318-1021. On Facebook and on YouTube. All right?
Yeah, Richard, you'll have to record, eh? It's
Do you
getting a little
agree
noisy. Yeah.
with the Ministry of Education
you.
that expels students, well, to be mandatory that they go to MyLAT?
Yeah. Do you agree with that, the Ministry of Education's decision to do that? Yes or no? That's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. People on the web and the app, you know what to do. You could send your votes by the comment section on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And of course, you can also send your votes via WhatsApp at 868-318-1021.
All right. Got some votes already coming in. I got a call, so let's grab this call. Grandy, morning.
Good morning, Sandy Grandy. My answer is no.
All right, Grandy, thank you.
The ministry can't send nobody. They have to go and get a court order, and I hope Richard would address it.
All right, thank you, Grandy.
Do you agree with the Ministry of Education's decision to make MyLAT make expelled students go to MyLAT a mandatory thing once you're under 16?
All right,
do you
let's
agree
go
with
another call here. Good morning.
Morning. Once you're expelled under the education system, under the Ministry of Education, my answer is no. You can't make them go to that after they've been expelled.
Right. Thank you, big guy.
Big guy, I want to tell Big Guy, I actually thought about that, that after you're expelled, I don't know that you have control over them.
All right. Alistair Hart says yes. CJ New York says yes. Wayne B. in Covenant, Georgia says yes. Gregory Bauer says yes. Pearl Cordy says yes. Julia S. Batiste, yes. Let's grab this call. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Zena.
Man, yes, I agree.
Yes, you agree. Thank you. Mrs. R says, yes, I agree.
As I was saying before, I thought about that concern that Big Guy raised, that after you expelled, I don't know what control you have over the student again. I thought about that. Maybe they'll explain.
Ron says yes. Sexy San Fernando says yes. Jaron Joseph says yes to the poll. Carol Guevara says yes. Thank you, Carol, watching us on YouTube. Good morning to you.
I think, which is also why Paul was saying, don't even wait for them to be expelled. Anybody given trouble, put them there, make it mandatory. Of course, this was a proposal from, if you remember, mandatory national service by former Mayor Louis Leasing, one of the brighter things he said over the years. And even Gart Sinclair was also a supporter of it, I think. Mandatory national service for young people. So maybe that issue will crop up again.
Mackie was big on that too.
Who's that?
Mackie.
All right. Yes, Mackie. Pardon. Yes.
Do you support the position of the Minister of Education to make MyLAT enrollment mandatory for students expelled from schools? All right. That's our poll this morning. Of course, we're going to stay up for the entire weekend. And, of course, on Monday, I'll give you the final results.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our poll this morning. Do you support the position of the Minister of Education to make MyLAT enrollment mandatory for students expelled from school? That's our poll. Just as we head to the 7 o'clock news. Are any more votes coming in on the comment section, Steve? Did you get Carol Guevara? Okay, is he hearing us? Hello?
Yeah, Rich.
Did you get Carol Guevara's vote?
Yeah, I did.
And Rena Jennings? You didn't record Rena Jennings.
All right.
And Mars versus Venus. Yes, if students are deemed or at risk, if they are not being supervised, if expelled, if you would require the government to provide an alternative. Everyone needs to remember that. MyLAT is also school. Wayne B, instead of expulsion, send a student to MyLAT. I assume that's a yes. Wayne B.
And Wayne Joseph?
Yes, from Ontario, Canada.
Right. And I got Cascade St. Anne's saying yes. All right, gentlemen, we got to run into our major news. AV is in. News starts right now.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Government making it compulsory for suspended students to be sent to the MyLAT program. THA claims government owes it $166.4 million. Minority Leader alleges Tobago has little to show for the $5 billion spent in the past 2 years. And further afield, clashes with the riot police after 5 hurt or leave 5 hurt in Dublin, or after 5 hurt in Dublin knife attack. Details in a moment. This is News to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. Good morning. Government is seeking to make it compulsory for indisciplined students who are suspended from government or government-assisted schools to be enrolled in the military-led academic training program. MyLAT is a social intervention program that is specifically designed to help at-risk young men aged 16 to 20 years transform their lives and achieve academic success. Last year, 3 students were suspended. This year, 10 pupils so far have been suspended.
For students that have to be removed from our school system, students who have to be expelled, after all efforts have been made, we have already approved compulsory registration into MyLAT for such students. And we do, as the Ministry of Education, reach out to the Ministry of Youth Development on an individual basis, informing them of students that require their attention in this regard.
The Ministries of Social Development and National Security are also involved in the process in terms of counseling and other forms of support to assist the students to live productive lives.
We also reach out to the Ministry of Social Development and the Ministry of National Security, informing them that these students have been expelled and require their assistance in terms of family counseling, in terms of any attention they can give, and exposure to programs available from the government. So it is not as though we are casting these students aside. Even though they are coming out of the Ministry of Education system, there are other provisions coming from the government to deal with these students and to assist them in ways that the Ministry of Education cannot.
Meanwhile, the Education Minister said that a return to physical classes coming out of the COVID-19 period and the introduction of a remedial education program are some of the factors which contributed to improved performance in terms of examination results. Speaking at a media briefing yesterday, the Education Minister said the training of teachers to be better able to cope with students was another reason for the improved showing being experienced.
So one of the things that have contributed greatly to our students doing well as we look over the past 5 years would be, of course, their return to physical classes. As you know, this was fraught with different opinions. At the time, we were one of the nations that kept our children away from school for the longest, if you look at the global averages. However, our students came back to school very safely in the last academic year. We also instituted our remedial education program at that time.
Speaking with reporters on Thursday, the minister said more social workers and guidance counselors will be brought into the system to work with students who are struggling with discipline issues.
For the schools of focus, where we have real challenges with discipline, we have hired more school social workers and guidance counselors to assist the parents in many cases, because we have parent conferences, they do home visits, to assist them in being better parents and meeting the needs of their children, the varied needs of their children, so that we can transform the children's behavior.
The Tobago House of Assembly claims it is owed $166.4 million by central government in approval parliamentary allocation. THA Chief Secretary Falia Gaston has alleged the money is owed to the Assembly for the period 2017 to 2022. Mr. Gaston gave a breakdown of the outstanding monies during deliberations at the 24th plenary sitting of the THA 2021 to 2025 session.
The current legal construct that informs and directs the THA's budgetary processes denies Tobago of any real and meaningful fiscal and budgetary authority. THA budget process is plagued with uncertainties, especially as it relates to the parliamentary allocations and the releases of all the approved allocations from the Ministry of Finance to the Tobago House of Assembly.
A motion was debated and the House agreed that the Secretary of Finance should immediately seek legal redress over the illegal handling of the THA finances by government. Mr. Gaston said in spite of discussions with the Assembly on this issue, progress has been slow.
My administration has been having discussions with the Minister of Finance on this matter over the last 2 years without any material success. Madam Presiding Officer, the time for futile talking has expired. We are now at an advanced stage in our preparation for two things. One, legal action, and two, preparation of the complaint to invoke the jurisdiction of the Dispute Resolution Commission provided for under Section 56 of the THA Act 40 of 1996.
He claimed the THA budget process is plagued with uncertainties, especially as it relates to the parliamentary allocations and the releases of all the approved allocations from the Ministry of Finance to the THA. Meanwhile, Minority Leader Calvin Morris, during his contribution to the proceedings, said the present executive must be able to find a way to properly use the resources available to it financially and otherwise to ensure the people of Tobago benefit from it. Mr. Morris said now is not the time for blaming or complaining about funding received from the central government. However, Mr. Morris said using the funding at its disposal in an efficient manner must be at the forefront. He claimed that $5 billion have been used by the current THA in the past 2 years, but questioned what is available to show for the money spent.
$5 billion have been spent in the last 24 months. And what we drive around Tobago every day, I want Tobagoans to tell me, have you seen in your community any evidence of that $5 billion? And the question is, where has the money gone? You're having single mothers calling you every living day. Somebody want a food card, have no groceries.
Mr. Morris also spoke about challenges faced by businesses and contractors and how it worked against inspiring confidence in the economy of Tobago.
The main objective must be an in-depth analysis of the available resources and how do you then apportion those available resources to the benefit and satisfaction of the people of Tobago. And of course, we must challenge them, each of them as they get up, to tell us in detail how are they going to achieve what they said they are going to make the priority.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Further afield, a 5-year-old girl and a woman in her 30s have been seriously injured, and 3 other people hurt in a knife attack in Dublin city centre. Another girl, 6, and a 5-year-old boy were also stabbed outside the children's school on Parnell Square East. There were violent scenes near where the attack took place after crowds of protesters gathered in the area. Police said a man in his 40s is a person of interest. More details in this report from the Irish National Network broadcaster, RTE.
According to the Irish police, called the Garda Síochána, the woman and one child, a girl, are seriously injured. The man and 2 other children less seriously injured. The police have said they're not looking for anybody else in connection with this at this time. They've indicated they don't believe this was terrorist related in any way. Understood, a man attacked a woman. He is now being treated in hospital. He was injured himself, and police are waiting to talk to him. So
straight into weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago fair conditions will be interrupted by partly cloudy intervals with few showers. There's a low chance of the isolated heavy shower or thunderstorm favoring Trinidad. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding may occur in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago, and 28 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, government making it compulsory for suspended students to be sent to the MyLab program. THA claims government owes it $166.4 million. Minority leader alleges Tobago has little to show for the $5 billion spent in the past 2 years, and clashes with riot police after 5 hurt in Dublin knife attack. I'm Afrel Sintel Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you so much, Avril, for our major news. You can join her again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. And, of course, again at noon with Sir Charles. He'll be in. We were running a little late, but he'll be in today for the program, the Friday edition of Keeping It Real. Get into the traffic situation. Approaching O'Meara Lights, you've got some traffic. Piarco towards Uwe. And then right after QREP interchange, straight into Port of Spain. Lower Santa Cruz, Eastern Main Road by Arima Old Road by Macoya. Various spots you will get traffic. Of course, Diego Martin, Maraval, going through Kelly Village from St. Helena. You've got some traffic. Southern Main Road from Sugargornis. Yeah, approaching Chin Chin Road and heading north after Chin Chin Road, you've got some traffic. On the Uriah Butler Highway, you'll pick up some traffic from Monroe Road. Heading San Fernando, lighter than usual. Yeah, it is just the Naprima Mayara Road. You've got some traffic there this morning, as well as Bonaventure Road. You got some traffic. We're heading northbound. It's telling me it's not too bad. Rivulet Road is a lot lighter too, so it's not too bad on the Solo. Apart when you get to by Monroe Road, you've got some traffic there this morning. All right, and of course nothing out of Grandy. Just a little volume as you head towards the stretch. All right, gentlemen. So that is our traffic. Let's see. We got some other votes here. Where's Richie Rich there to take them in? We got Marcia Rock saying yes. Mo Gaines saying yes. Jacqueline Linfat. Good morning to you, Jacqueline. Also saying yes. All right. So that's it. Right.
I got those additional votes. So in all, 24 people voted on the poll this morning.
Mm-hmm. You dropped out, Rich. Didn't hear you. We just had 24 people voted on the poll this morning. That was it. Kazim Mohammed just dropped in as well.
Okay. Oh, he said yes. So it'll be 22 people said yes to the vote, including Kazim Mohammed's vote. And 2 people said no. So in all, it's 24 people that voted on the poll this morning. 22 of you said yes, that you support the Ministry of Education's position. 2 said no, they do not support it. So that's it for our poll. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day through our programming, and we'll give you the final results on Monday morning because today is Friday. So the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. And you should not forget that.
Yeah, of course, our poll is on our website and on our mobile app already, so you can start to vote on that. All right, so let me just organize. Is Wendell dropped out, so he probably had to board his aircraft. Yeah, that's what he's telling me here. All right, so let me get David West on the line.
I see some other votes coming in, so...
Yeah, you can vote on our mobile app.
Well, John Cato says yes to the poll. Yep, so that's it for our poll this morning. Of course, we're going to speak to David West, the head of the PCA.
Yeah. Yeah. Just waiting on him to answer the phone.
So I don't have that issue. I know the people who voted no raised certain issues from a legal perspective with regard to the Ministry of Education. So we'll see how it all plays out. Of course, people are entitled to challenge and people are entitled to go to court if they want to go to court. So
Yeah.
if you
all
want
right.
to go
So
to
let's
court,
say
the Ministry of Education can't force my child to go to Milat. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Good morning to you, Mr. David West.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Fair to find a few scattered showers. It's just Richard and myself here this morning. Of course, David West is the big man, the head honcho at the Police Complaints Authority. Yeah.
Good morning, David, and thanks for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show this morning. We appreciate it.
Sure, not a problem. Morning, Richard.
Yeah. So of course,
we did ask a poll yesterday where we got the final results this morning, and our poll yesterday was: do you think the PCA should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? That was our poll yesterday, and 100% of our voters said yes.
So I suppose that's a good question to ask you, David. Would the PCA be interested? Because in watching because PCA was, of course, in the news for the last couple of days because of their appearance before the PAC. Would the PCA be interested in having the powers to charge in terms of possible offenses by police officers, or you personally think that should remain the remit of the DPP?
That's a very good question, and it's a question that we have discussed before in the past. As you can see from our figures, we are making recommendations to both the DPP and the COP as per our mandate, and then of course they have the decision whether or not to charge or go ahead or not. It's out of our hands. I think as an oversight body, we have to decide how far do we want to go, and a discussion has to have, of course, with the I guess the powers that be, whether or not we should have the power to charge subject to DPP. I don't want to take over the DPP's constitutional remit under Section 19 to charge. I believe the DPP should always have the final say on whether or not to charge. What we can do is that we can make a recommendation, and then he can decide whether yes or no. But he still will have the power under Section 19 to charge, on Section 19 to charge of the Constitution. So I think an answer would be what we can start doing maybe is prosecuting. Once we have gotten the go-ahead from the DPP to charge, we can then do our own prosecutions, because the DPP department is undated with a lot of matters, etc. And therefore, maybe we are building capacity within the PCA to be able to take matters to court. So therefore, I think as a natural progression, we should be able to prosecute our matters once the DPP says yes, we can go ahead and charge.
Okay, because that's an interesting take. I didn't think of your being the prosecutorial arm to deal with the issue, because I know you provided a certain amount of data. The PCA provided a certain amount of data to the committee with regard to how many recommendations they would have made to the DPP. But once you make the recommendations to the DPP, it's really out of your hands whether the DPP charges or not. And
that is correct. That is correct.
And I don't know if you have any data at all in terms of percentiles, not necessarily hard numbers, but if you of the amount that you've submitted to the DPP, there is a 75% rate of those police officers being charged, or it's a 50% rate, or it's a 60% rate, or you just don't know?
I don't know is the answer, because we do not get back any figures from the DPP whether or not they charge or not. Now, we do know if we follow up informally if the person has been charged or not. But there are many other matters that it's not only police-involved shootings we make recommendations for. We make recommendations for larceny, and other criminal matters. And so we do not always follow up on those other matters. So the answer is we don't know.
Yeah, in terms of the amount of data, and of course you just have to collect data and data that drives any institution these days. Is it that I know you said there was an increase in the amount of complaints coming to the PCA. Is it that? Yes. Is it reflective that things are getting worse in terms of police officers possibly overstepping their legal remit, or is it that people are more aware of the PCA, so complaints are coming fast and furious? Which is it, do you think, or can you tell at all?
Well, that's the problem with the complaints, because the answer is I cannot tell, because we have increased the methodology or the method with which people can make a complaint. We have you have the walk-in complainants, you have the complainants who use our app, who use our website, who email us, or who write in a letter. So since we have expanded the methods of getting a complaint to us, it has increased exponentially. All right. Now, I do not know if that is a reflection of more complaints against officers, it's getting worse, or just because they have the availability to make complaints and they know more about us. Because sometimes, not all complaints are within remit also too, and not all complaints, as an initial report, and not all complaints fall into the category of serious police misconduct or criminal offense. So, I don't have the data or the statistics to say it's because of A or B. So I'm just saying I can say it's a combination of both.
Right. Okay. In terms of the increase, yeah.
Yeah, and what I can say too is, for example, the police-involved shootings. When we look at that, it is a high figure. Last year it was 33 police-involved shootings. The 2021 to 2020 was 59. 2019 to 2020 was 66. 2018 to 2019 was 35. So, you see these high numbers, and those numbers are worrying numbers.
Yeah. Because I think, we always, on this program, we all, in discussing the crime situation, which of course we discuss regularly, if not every day, we touch on it, because it's such a consuming issue in terms of this society. The issue of rogue police officers always comes up as part of our conversation. and oftentimes when we interview people in the national security infrastructure, so those complaints kind of are linked to that in terms of people overstepping their bounds. What frustrates you, David? Like if you had to, the top 3 frustrations as being director of the PCA, what would that be?
Well, I think that, well, for me personally, that, the police service is sometimes, for example, we go to the police station for documents, and still we're still getting some pushback from the officers in the station that, oh, you have to write the commissioner for this matter, for this letter, for this information, or you can't get it right now. So I mean, since I know when I first came in under former Commissioner Stephen Williams, I met him, I explained to him the process. He understood it. So did Mr. Griffith, so did Mr. Jacob. But it is the officers on the ground level or the heads of divisions. They're the ones that are still giving us a little difficulties. Whereas, the upper echelon of the police service understands what's going on and why we exist. But still, we're still getting that pushback from the police officers at the station. And that frustrates me because, we've been around long enough now and they know that what we're getting is legal. It's from the act. It's nothing untoward. It's nothing, it's nothing that, everything we're backed up because it's a complaint being made. It's not something we're just making up to go and get information from the police for. It is something to investigate. Yeah. And that is what is frustrating me, And also to police officers breaching the standing orders, simple standing orders. That also too, and it could be helped because once they don't do that, it will be much easier to get the information. So I think getting information is also the most frustrating aspect of the part of the PCA.
Did you meet with the current Commissioner of Police with regard to any of the issues you're still experiencing? Because it sounds like a multi-year problem that it spans several commissioners. But have you met with the current commissioner concerning the issue?
No, I haven't met with the current commissioner because we have the relationship where I can call her or send her a WhatsApp or a message that this is going on, and she then immediately acts on it and informs the officer at the station or whoever to go ahead and accede to the PCA's request. So because I've been here for 9 years now, she was not commissioner before, but we have met before in other areas, so she understands what I'm about, and we have the relationship where I could call her and we can deal with the matter over the phone, which is it is commendable to the present commissioner, and also to the senior officers, the deputy commissioners I can call also too, some senior superintendents I can call also. So it has reached that stage where if it is that the investigator goes to a station and is having problems, I can pick up the phone and call the deputy commissioner or the commissioner, and it will be resolved within a day or two. So that is what I'm grateful for, and I'm happy to see that is happening. But I should not have to make that call to begin with.
Exactly. Is it that investigators from the PCA, like if you go for that information from a police officer from a police station, is it that you're getting open hostility or just reluctance?
No, it's not open at all. It's more tacit resistance, I would say.
Oh, okay.
I
was just wondering now, in terms because the resistance that you can get and because sometimes you're investigating their batch, so to speak, and there's this kind of batch loyalty that you will sometimes encounter, which I'm sure that you will probably...
There is, but I think police officers realize too that these rogue officers that they have are hurting their image because they have many officers out there who are trying their best to do the right thing, and then up comes an issue or with an officer and they don't like it, but they have to be able to get over that. And also I can say more and more officers are coming to the PCA confidentially, of course, and making reports, which is a good sign that they understand that we are the people to assist them when they have rogue officers in the police service.
What other suggestions you would, if you had to make them, what other suggestions you would say for revamping the legislation or statute under which you act? Besides the prosecution, which would be an obvious one and that we would have discussed earlier, what other suggestions you would suggest to Parliament that, look, we need this amendment for us to be better operationally?
I think, and I have not discussed this matter with the authorities, so I don't want it to sound like I'm stepping over my boundary, but I think having certain coercive powers in terms of being able to arrest, being able to go on a scene and collect ammunition, for example, or firearms, those powers would be important, because when there's a crime scene, we can then take over the crime scene, or police involved shooting, we can then take over, and we can then make sure the integrity of that scene is kept intact, and then sort of chain of custody of ammunition, of firearms, of exhibits can be taken to be done properly to investigate a matter, and then of course take it to the DPP to say whether or not a man should be charged or not.
Oh, okay. Because I know. You're entitled to be at the scene, but you can't do any of that. Well, you wouldn't be able to do any of that right now. But how would that work, though, David? Because the police would also be investigating. Is it that once it's a police-involved shooting, you would see the PCA being at the top of the hierarchy in terms of managing the scene? Is that how you see it?
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it should be. That's how it is in Jamaica. And also to, I guess, return from a conference in the US for civilian oversight. And in Chicago, once an officer involved shooting, the police contacts immediately that oversight body to come in. So the police will get there and secure the scene, and they wait for the oversight body, or in the common Jamaica, as the case may be, to come in and take over the scene, the crime scene, and they are the ones who have primacy in that crime scene once it's a police-involved shooting.
Okay, interesting.
That is the ideal where we should be at, because being there early on a crime scene is important, so we can do away with any tampering of the evidence.
Yeah. That would involve, and I just segueing into your resource issues, because that would to manage those kinds of scenes. If that was a possible amendment, you would also have to have an increase in your human resource, etc.
Yes.
Is it at this point? I know when you appeared before the PAC, you talked about additional resources needed in terms of vehicles, in terms of updating your app, etc. What sort of other additional resources you would require? I know those were the two that made the news, but I'm sure that there are other resources that you require.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about now, or if we get those amendments?
No, I'm talking about now.
No, okay. No, generally speaking, we are staffed with people that we have at the moment now. We don't need that much more critical additional staff. We have staff. As I said, we are running. We are investigating. We are fulfilling our remit, our mandate under the Act. As I said before, technology, for example, we need to increase. Because the more complaints come on, our administrative investigations management system is getting, I guess, overworked or overloaded. So we need more servers. We have a records management unit now where we digitize all our information. So therefore, we need, again, it's a lot more servers, again, more technological equipment, I would say. But as of now, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate that we have enough, to run the department or the authority in a beneficial and efficient way.
Just touching on the amendments, proposed amendments, as you see it, and as you said that you did mention to authorities, etc. Yet, is there a plan? Do you have a strat plan in terms of how you concretize those possible amendments and push them forward, whether it be for legislative review to see whether the state would be interested in eventually be making them law? Is there any track for accomplishing those possible amendments?
Right, that's a good question because we are evaluating, or we are going to do our strat plan for 2024, 2027. We have met already with the service provider, and early next year we are going to meet and develop our strat plan. And coming out of the strat plan, what happens then is I do a policy document, or I do a note, I guess, to the Attorney General asking him to meet. I do a policy laying out why we need these amendments. He either agrees or disagrees. And then with that policy, I guess he would take a note to Cabinet. Cabinet will either agree or not agree whether or not they need amendments. And then if the Cabinet agrees, then it goes on the order paper, then you have to draft the amendments, goes on the order paper, and then it's debated in Parliament.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I was just wondering, because, oftentimes when you are dealing with an act, being the practical people working with the legislation, you often start to see the gaps in the legislation. And getting those gaps remedied is often a process that you really have to push hard at in getting it accomplished, because, of course, the rest of the state machinery is moving and humming along at its own usual pace, and they're not necessarily really concerned with your problems unless you make it known. So that's why I was asking that, whether how much of that has been getting attention internally so that you could start applying the pressure. I'm using the word pressure loosely. Because I think the AG is pretty receptive to, whatever it is that the agencies under their remit would require.
Yeah. Well, if you recall 2 years ago in 2020 and 2021, the Parliament did debate and passed about certain amendments that we had asked for. Yeah. And you're right. It's only when you're actually working the act you realize there are gaps. So that we did that, and we were successful in all our amendments we asked for. We got them. So I'm very satisfied that both the government and opposition understand the importance of the PCA. And I think once we have our strat plan and we move forward, I think I hope that they would be receptive to any amendments that we do decide that are needed to serve the people and make the PCA, even more both accountable and more efficient in determining their remit.
Does the PCA have any outreach sessions? And it's a dual question I'm asking you here. Outreach sessions, one, to members of the public, even though members of the public, well, you always assume members of the public know agencies exist. But, you could go by wherever and say, yeah, what you reported to the PCA, and somebody would say, what is the PCA? Even though, you think that you have enough PR out there, so to speak. But in terms of outreach sessions with regard to members of the public, that's one part of it. And two, outreach sessions in collaboration with the Commissioner of Police and the hierarchy of the police service for police officers, where police officers understand that you are not an antagonistic agency, but you're an agency about integrity that really is to their benefit.
And the answer is yes, we do outreach programs. I think over the 5 years or so, we've done over 25 community outreach programs to educate and receive feedback from citizens, of Trinidad and Tobago. We also do outreach in conjunction with the Living Waters community and, the refugee community. So we acknowledge that they are also to have issues sometimes with the police, and we have had outreach programs with them, and we used to have outreach programs for the academy before they started or before they were about to graduate. We used to have outreach programs in the police academy, and those were very, I think, informative and very successful. But we haven't had some in a while, and I have to again remind the commissioner about what we do in terms of going to the academy and giving them a discussion, outreach, or educating them, as you say, on what we do. So we're not seen as the enemy, but somebody who are there to make them look good, because we don't want them looking bad in the public eye, and so they're not going to do anything wrong. We also partner with the Eastern Lawyers Association, and we have done several matters with them, and also to legal aid clinics. We've also partnered with the legal aid clinics. So we've done quite a few outreach programs, but I take your point. There is a need to do more. There is a need to do more, and we also do it in Tobago also. So let me not forget Tobago. And we also have to educate the population more. It's a continuous effort. We just can't do it once or twice and then say, okay, everybody knows. We have to continue with the education, and it's a continuous process so people understand it and know what we are all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the issue of the outreach for the police academy is really interesting, because I think it will actually feed in after a period of time into the kind of resistance that you sometimes would get at police stations, because those officers will eventually be manning those police stations and will be familiar with your remit. So it becomes, it kind of oils the machine in a certain sense, that that we will at times interface with you, and it's not about, we don't want the antagonism or the passive resistance, as you would have indicated, in terms of getting the information.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to keep those links active.
Yeah, I agree. We have to, be more out there in terms of outreach and educating the public.
Good morning, David.
Hi, morning.
Just an interesting question just popped into my head. Does the PCA keep a tally or a record of the number of cases that would have been sent to the DP or the Commissioner of Police for remedial action, for discipline, or for criminal charges to be laid, and in terms of your recommendation versus how many actually followed through in that regard?
Yes, we do. In our annual report every year, we publish those figures, and I have those figures now. If you want me to refresh your memory, or if you want to hear.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ahead, please.
For the year 2014 to 2015, to the Commissioner of Police we sent 42 matters, and to the DPP we sent 10. 2015 to 2016, we sent 28 matters to the Commissioner of Police, 7 matters to the DPP. 2016 to 2017, 80 matters to the Commissioner of Police, 17 matters to the DPP. 2017 to 2018, 34 matters to the COP, 2 matters to the DPP. 2018 to 2019, 28 matters to the COP, 4 matters to the DPP. 2019 to 2020, 52 matters to the Commissioner of Police, 8 matters to the DPP. 2020 to 2021, 45 matters to the Commissioner of Police, 19 matters to the DPP. And 2021 to 2022, 45 matters to the COP, 26 matters to the DPP. So that makes a total of matters from 2014 to 2022. 354 matters are sent to the Commissioner of Police, and the same period, 93 matters are sent to the DPP.
Do you keep track of how many of those recommendations and matters sent to either the Commissioner of Police or the DPP had been actioned by other agency?
No, we don't keep a track on that.
Do you have a conversation with both agencies in terms of, because at the end of the day, I'm presuming that both objectives are the same, to keep law enforcement officers in line and also give a sense of, well, this number of matters were brought to the PCA by the members of the public, but only 4% met muster to be sent to either the Commissioner of Police or the DPP. So you get a sense of whether or not there's an overabundance of matters not making muster or making muster, as reported by the general public, and what can be done to more educate the public in terms of what matters should be reported, or the vagaries involved in between why a matter may not have made it to the COP or the DPP, though reported to the PCA.
Yeah, I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, but it's very difficult. Remember the COP, when we send a matter for referral, she then sends it across, I guess, to the PCD, that's the Police Complaints Division. They then take that file and they will then have to action on the file, and then they will have to, if it's viable, they will then take it before the tribunal, and then
put a pause there. That's a very interesting bit of information. So, no matter what work you do or what you assess to be actionable or your recommendations are when it comes to the police commissioner, it has to go before the Professional Standards Bureau, is it?
No, the Police Complaints Division.
The Police Complaints Division, where they will then assess whether it should go further.
Yes, because they're the ones who have to prosecute the matter in the tribunal. So I guess if they feel that we don't have enough evidence or our investigative file was not satisfactory, they then decide. Our recommendations, of course, are sent for consideration by the COP and DPP. The DPP, of course.
Is that an arrangement you're comfortable with? Because to me, it then almost eliminates the final recommending power of the PCA, where the police commissioner is concerned. But I guess the same thing happens to the DPP, where the DPP will take your recommendations and assess whether or not it makes muster to actually lay the charges that you're recommending.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we cannot instruct the COP or DPP that they must charge. Okay, and sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying we are the perfect body, but sometimes, our recommendations may not. It works both ways. Sometimes our recommendations may not see the same weight as they do, but sometimes when we recommend for a lesser charge, they say no. Well, you could have gone for more. So that's why it's important, I think, to have another body overlook sometimes, our recommendations. So when we make a recommendation, we are satisfied in our mind that a charge should be, it should come out of it. However, at the end of the day, we are humans. We are not,
The only issue I have with that scenario is that while the DPP's office is an independent body, the other agency inside the police service is part of the overall police service. I don't know. I can't seem to reconcile that in my mind, that we're having the final say on what goes forward for disciplinary or charges or not, because it's part of the police service as a whole. Whereas I can understand the DPP being an independent agency and body making a determination on the recommendations coming from the PCA.
You know what, David, I don't know if you could, I'm hitching on to Paul's question there. I don't know if you could explain what are the parameters that determine for our listening audience when something goes to the Commissioner of Police and when something goes to the DPP.
Well, when it goes to the Commissioner of Police, the evidence must be on a balance of probabilities that the officer committed the offense. When it goes to the DPP, it's on a prima facie case that the officer committed the offense. So it's a legal standard we look at. All right.
Can you give us a reminder? I know in the past you'd advocated for wider powers of the PC. I don't know if you will cover that earlier on. I just came back onto the stream. But what are some of the main additional remits that you would like legislatively for the PCA, given what you've experienced in your tenure?
So I spoke earlier, and I said that I think that maybe given the power to more coercive powers and powers to prosecute, because as you say, Paul, this issue with the making a recommendation. I'm saying that's subject to the DPP's power constitutional powers, and I don't want to take away that power at all, because that under the Constitution he has the power to charge and take over and stop prosecutions. So once the DPP is satisfied that a matter can be go forward to the court and has reached that legal standard, I'm saying that we have built up capacity in the PCA for us to prosecute matters now, and also to being on the crime scene. I think we should be first on a crime scene, not first, but we should be once there's a police involved shooting, we should be called immediately, and then we should take over that crime scene. Now, of course,
what presently obtains for that scenario?
Pardon, I didn't hear it, sorry.
I say you're asking to be called as soon as possible or almost immediately if there's a police involved killing, and that's right. your wish list. What presently obtains? What is generally the case?
Well, unfortunately, what happens is we wait until the media publishes the shooting in the papers the next day, and then our machinery starts. We call up the officer in the division, whoever it is, and then we try to get information. And then about 2 or 3 or 4 days, we get a police report on the police involved shooting. So by the time we get there or start our investigation, it's a long time, and those the first couple of hours are important on any investigative crime scene.
You've made this point before. Has there been any improvement in the police understanding the need for you to be on that crime scene to assess? And very often people feel once the PCA is called in, it's about making a police look guilty or finding a police guilty. But very often it's about exonerating an officer who's been erroneously accused. Not so?
Well, I think part of that, if I may intervene, I think part of it would be a legislative issue, wouldn't it be, David? Because you want the PCA to actually be in the hierarchy, the institution that takes over that crime scene. Above the police, and once it's a police-involved shooting, that the PCA in the hierarchy of institutions is the one that now takes over that scene in priority over the police. Isn't that what you want, David?
Yeah, I mean, this is, of course, has to be, thrashed out properly, okay? So, this is not set in stone, but what happens in Jamaica, for example, once there's a police-involved shooting, the police on the scene, of course, they call their superiors. The superiors then call the INDICOM or the PCA right there. And then whatever time, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever time of the day, they then come on the scene. The scene is then blocked off. Nothing happens. Once the PCA gets there, they then take over and direct the bullets. They direct these sketches. If there's ammunition on the ground, if there's a firearm, if there's a body, they photograph, etc., etc. So the PCA is the one for police-involved shooting, has to be the one involved in what goes on, and they take over the crime scene.
But how effective is what obtains now? Because if you are reaching to a crime scene 3 and 4 days after contamination may have set in, after a police-involved killing or any other incident involving police that may warrant an investigation by the PCA, how effective is that investigation going to be after the fact when so much has happened to that crime scene?
Well, because it is effective still, because we still have access to the police records and everything that has transpired, the data, the CCTV footage, of course, the rounds of ammunition that the officer had when he left, how many was discharged, the station diary reports. We have reports of the shooting officers. So we have a lot of information that we can look and double check. Plus, of course, it all ties back to the post-mortem. The bullet, was it an entry? Was it an entry wound, an exit wound? Was it in the back? Was it in the shoulder? So all of that, the investigators look at, and we determine whether or not if the story of the police adds up to the evidence of the post-mortem and all the other evidence surrounding the police-involved shooting.
Is there a particular type or category of offense you find in terms of the 66.7% increase in reports going in the last, I think, the 2021 to 2022 period, that are going, one, to the Commissioner of Police, and 2 to the DPP, a specific type of offense or offenses?
Yeah, well, we have the abuse of power is a big one that has, it's always been there, and police abuse of power. Neglect of duty of police officers for not doing simple things like writing up diaries or investigating a matter properly. Those are the kind of matters that go to the commissioner. And of course, with the DPP, you have the police involved shootings, and then you have the larceny, and you have all those other issues. You have assault also, both summary, and of course under the that goes to the commissioner of police also. Discreditable conduct is another one. So we have these things.
Yeah.
Misbehavior in public office is a big one that goes to the DPP.
You know what, David, there have been several high-profile cases where police officers have been charged for murder, and groups of police officers. Was the PCA involved in that, or was that purely internal on part of the TTPS?
You're talking about being involved for police-involved shootings?
Well, it would be police-involved shootings. It would have been police-involved shootings.
So any police-involved shooting, the PCA investigates. So therefore, any matter that goes before the court for, as you say, a police-involved shooting now, I will say the majority would have been investigated by the police. I'm sorry, by the PCA. By the PCA.
Yeah. Well, I know at the time it's crept up on us, so I mean we don't have much. Maybe we have like a minute or 2 minutes left. I don't know if you'd be willing to take some calls, David, from our listeners, in case they wanted to ask anything.
Definitely, I'm always open to listen to the.
So we can open up the lines briefly as we head towards 8 a.m. For our listeners to get interactive. 222-TALK, 222-8255, and of course, North Americans 866-525-1099. We just have time for a couple of calls.
We have a question from Mars versus Venus. Can the PCA also be involved in the recruitment and training of young men and women? I don't know in terms of what, but that's the question that's being posed.
No, we're not involved in the training of young officers. As I said before, what we do is we used to go to the academy and give them a talk about what the PCA is and what we are about, and the act. We go through the act.
Yeah.
It's an interesting topic, and I'd like to discuss also too is police officers being liable in costs. You see a lot on the newspaper. Police officers, when they have matter goes to court, and the state is found guilty, and a lot of money is being, a lot of damages are being set against the state because of police officers' misconduct.
What's your perspective on that? Because this morning we have a newspaper report that says Justice Frank C. Prasad judged morning $130,000 or so to an officer who was off duty, who beat a man and was found guilty. And while the claimant involved the office of the Attorney General, Justice C. Prasad said, no, you were on a frolic of your own and you will bear the cost of this in that matter.
Well, that's a little different because he found that the police officer, although I know the matter because he was not on duty, went on a frolic of his own, so therefore he had to pay it personally and he couldn't rely on the state to pay the damages for him. But in general speaking, I think we have to have a discussion on when police officers, in the performance of their duty, when they're acting on their duty, and they go beyond the call of duty, and they go beyond resisting arrest, or arresting somebody, and they assault somebody, that was uncalled for, and damages result. I think that is an issue we have to look at in terms of that officer being liable in costs. Because
in terms of excessive use, what you're talking about?
Pardon?
For example, excessive use of force cases?
Yes. When they go outside the bounds of policing and what they're trained to do. That's an issue that that's a discussion I would like to have, because I think that that's one way to curb that excessive use of force by police officers.
You mean that they should
David, I do have a call, so let's grab this call because we are in time now. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Mr. David. How are you?
Morning, I'm fine, thank you.
Mr. West. Okay. So I was just asking, if the PCA will be involved, if you all have any interest getting into the recruitment and the training of police officers, just to give them a little bit more idea as to what they're getting into when they're joining the service, the temptations and some of the issues that may come up, in their life, and some of the outcomes that would result at me coming to the PCA for some sort of disciplinary issues as a deterrent. And I'm also asking as well, how long does it take to investigate an issue? Because I have had an issue where, a breach of protection order was not investigated by the police. My protection order was breached on several occasions, and I did make an application to the PCA. I'm just looking at how long, based on your manpower, how quickly you'll get through these issues. And those are my two questions.
All right,
thank you very much.
No problem. Give it.
Thank you. Well, yeah. So what we do is we do go to the academy and we do lecture and train the officers about what the PCA does, our remit, and what we do, and we encourage them to, of course, uphold and obey the standing orders. The matter of the length of time to investigate a matter, of course, I can't give you a certain time, but it all depends on. Sometimes we need to get feedback from third parties. And for example, the court sometimes, if you have a breach of protection order, we need to get the protection order from the court. And although you provide a copy, we still need to get it from the court to see what is going on there, and sometimes the notes of evidence. So therefore, that might take some time, but a matter like your matter should not be that lengthy or that complex. If it is a breach of protection order and that the police are not, is it a neglected duty? The police are not enforcing your breach. Yeah, so that should not take a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, David, I want to thank you so much for being with us on the Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me, and you all have a great day.
You too. All the best.
Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you. Have a great day, all. And weekend. Be safe.
Yeah, it's Friday. The weekend has begun. People, I just want to say happy birthday to Lisa again. Lisa, have a fantastic birthday. And of course, daughter, my cousin, who will be celebrating her birthday at Castro's later. So if you see her, buy a drink for her now. She's 75 today. Happy birthday, daughter. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do. And remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. It's a great stress reliever. Speak to you bright and early on Monday morning. It's the weekend. Have fun, whatever you do.
All right, gentlemen, no problem. Thank you. Have a good one. Talk with you all in the morning. Let's get into